Feud? What feud? Today, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is expected to attend a fundraiser for Donald Trump in Atlanta. The two Republicans have set aside their nearly 4-year-long running clash for the sake of beating the Democratic ticket. Trump has repeatedly attacked Kemp for refusing to support the former president's push to overturn the 2020 election results in the Peach State. Here's Trump in Atlanta earlier this month.
He's a bad guy, he's a disloyal guy, and he's a very average governor. Little Brian Kemp. Bad guy.
Despite that, Kemp is still endorsing the former president.
Well, look, there was a little distraction, obviously, on their side when it came to Georgia, but to me, that's in the past. I've been saying that, guys, literally for over a year now, that I was going to support our nominee, that we had to win Georgia. The road to the White House runs through Georgia, and I still believe today we could not afford 4 more years of Kamala Harris.
We want to discuss with Bobby Sapiro. He's Governor Kemp's former campaign manager. Bobby, thank you so much for being with us. I first want to start with a new Fox News poll that has Kamala Harris leading Donald Trump in your state by 2 points, though that's within the margin of error. What do you think will ultimately determine where Georgia lands on election night?
Yeah, I think it's important to note, as someone who works on campaigns, that I view polls more as trends, less than fact. So obviously it's trending that Kamala Harris has made this a serious race, and Georgia's a very tough state for both Donald Trump or Kamala Harris to win. But I think the main point that Donald Trump should focus on is the economy and getting Kamala Harris to actually articulate what her agenda and policy positions are. I think as Georgians, and Governor Kemp's done a fantastic job of talking about the economy. He got us through COVID. There's a lot of great policy points that he hit on during his 2022 race. What Donald Trump needs to focus on, and I think the message he needs to try and hit voters with, is, are you better off today or are you better off 4 years ago? And I think if he can do that, he'll get right back on track, and I think he'll be in a good position to win. But to your point about the poll, 2 points, Kamala's up 2 points. We're playing a little bit of catch up, but I still think Georgia's Trump's to lose.
So after Governor Kemp's endorsement, the former president seemed to make amends. He put out this message on social media. Do you think partly it's a sign that Trump was concerned this feud could cost him votes? I mean, we did see Republicans stay home for a number of Senate races that were crucial to control of that chamber of Congress.
Yeah, I can't speak on why President Trump did it, but I think there's a new approval number out for Governor Kemp today that had him at 64%. I think everyone in the state knows Governor Kemp's the most popular elected official here by a pretty good margin. And I also think it's important, and I listened to the clip of Governor Kemp before. He said for over a year he would support the Republican nominee. He's continued to do that and kept his promise. But one of the things I think is also important is Governor Kemp and his political operation have created a great ground game that we created back in 2022 that I think will be very important for the Trump campaign, but also top to bottom candidates across the board, for that turnout operation to come into full effect and have a huge impact on Donald Trump winning the state of Georgia.
It is also interesting to me, Bobby, that in the statements that I've seen from Kemp, he's maintained that Trump lost Georgia in 2020, though the former president doesn't seem to have accepted his defeat there.
You look, the election was certified. Governor Kemp has held that stance. But I think what's important with everything going on right now is there's a lot of questions about whether the 2020 election will have similar effects in 2024. But one point that I think a lot of people have not mentioned that's very important to this election, and I hope voters hear this, is back in 2021, Governor Kemp, the Election Integrity Act, SB 202, which made it easier to vote and harder to cheat, which created more transparency. There was higher turnout for both Republicans and Democrats. There was less wait times to vote, which is a big gripe that Democrats have had since 2018, that I think will bring confidence to the 2024 election, that President Trump should feel confident that the outcome of this race will be safe and secure.
You alluded to making it harder to cheat, but again, there was no evidence of widespread fraud in Georgia, right?
Right. And just to be clear, obviously it's not just Donald Trump and the MAGA lane who said this. Has also been Stacey Abrams and the Democrats who've been harping similar messages. I think the point of it is Governor Kemp believes the election was legitimate. Obviously, in elections, not everything is perfect. But I think the Election Integrity Act helped voters, and I hope Georgia voters are hearing this. It created a great opportunity to prove that elections are safe and secure. But also, the University of Georgia conducted a poll on the 2022 election. 99% said there was no issues. 97% had under 5-minute wait times, and over 90% said they felt it was safe and secure. So I think it's a positive momentum for the 2024 election, just to show that voters should feel confident that this election will be secure and safe, and that there shouldn't be any issues with there being any quote unquote cheating.
Bobby Sapper, we have to leave the conversation there. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much.
Of course.